What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more transfer speculation. Spurs are splashing the cash, and we're bringing you the streams to talk about it. Another great day of the World Cup, to be honest, last night. Portugal game. What a game that was. Pedro Porro scoring for Spain as well. Second Spurs player to score in the tournament. And that sets up an unbelievable game. Spain against Portugal in the last 16. It almost feels a bit too early in the tournament to have a game like this. But here we are.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
and Perisic as well. Former Spurs boy getting on the score sheet. And he was good game. He played well as well.
Yeah, I know. He was good against England as well. I mean, there's still life in the old dog yet.
Yeah, he thought he had a ACL 35. He was like, surely that's him done. Yeah. He's just come back with a vengeance, hasn't he? Fair play to him. It was really nice to see him playing the way he did yesterday and score that goal. I think he's just one of those players where his game intelligence just means he's timed exactly, and he keeps himself in great nick as well. Phenomenal player. So that was but yeah, gutted for Croatia because I thought that second half they should have gotten away with it. But Portugal just somehow clawed their way back.
What a second half of football that was. You know, I was like, at some point I'm going to fall asleep during this game, but I just couldn't. I was just like captivated by that second half. It was just like, wow. And already to go to extra time as well with that goal from Croatia at the end, at the finest of it was kind of miles offside in the end, but
that was offside, but the finest margins whether it touched
the
Croatia
his
player
hair pretty much.
The first use of the snickometer that we've seen in football.
I didn't even notice it, and then you told me about it last night, and I was just like, wow, this is mad.
So football's turning into cricket every day. Gonna have a 5-day game soon.
Yeah, we will probably. But before we get into the transfer speculation, go head over to okjersey.com. 15% off with our code SPURS15. If you want one of these, if you want one of those, plenty more on there as well. All your World Cup jerseys, Spurs retro shirts, current shirts, well, the very current shirt about to be added as well. And you get a whole 15% off, which is already a cheap £15 for a shirt. So get yourself over to OK Jersey if you want the best sports clubber on the internet right now. But look, let's get straight into the Spurs update. Quite a bit to speak about. We're going to start off talking on Rafael Leao, who I thought had a sensational performance last night for Portugal. I think everyone's kind of been like umming and ahhing about Rafael Leao, about his attitude problems. Is he still good? All this kind of stuff. And I think everyone watching him last night were being like, well, you know what?
Could do with a bit of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the pace he had on him to terrorise the fullback, that shot that cannoned off the bar, that assist, unbelievable cross. Wow, I was blown away by his performance last night. But the reports are, Gazzetta Italia saying that Spurs have been offered the chance to sign Rafael Leao. AC Milan could also be open to an initial loan move as well, which is very interesting. Damasio said that AC Milan value him at 60 to 70 million euros. And SZY says a deal to take Rafael Leao from AC Milan to Tottenham Hotspur is understood to be firmly in Spurs' hands. His agent, George Mendes, has offered him to Spurs twice already.
Which implies, we rejected him once?
Well, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's just like, oh, well, we're thinking about it. And he's like, well, he's still here. He's still here, It's interesting because obviously Spurs have dealt with George Mendes already in this transfer window with Mateus Fernandes.
And he played with Tonali.
He played with Tonali at Milan as well, yes, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, I was very unsure about Rafael Leao. After seeing him last night, I kind of think, like, maybe we should, like, punt on a loan because like the upsides of this is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm warming more and more to it. I think, look, there are definitely concerns and question marks, and they don't go away after one good World Cup performance. I think that what we saw yesterday is what we knew he's capable of, isn't it? That's the kind of quality we know that Rafael Leao has. He's super quick, unbelievable kind of technical ability. That cross for the assist was absolutely fantastic. He had a great effort which hit the underside of the bar as well from the edge of the area. And what I was saying yesterday, I think if we're looking to bring in two wingers, we probably want one like a Savinho or Nusa, who's like super dribbly, creates chances, a bit relentless. But then we also need someone who can maybe pull a rabbit out of the hat, who's got that little bit of special sauce. And Leao definitely is the guy to bring that. He's the guy that if it's 0-0 with 15 minutes to go, he could pull something out of the bag out of nowhere. He's the guy where you're not having the best game and you're struggling for rhythm, you're struggling for fluidity. He can just come up with something and win you the game. That's the quality he has. On the flip side, I was watching him very closely yesterday, and to be fair, I want to be completely fair to him. He was actually tracking back quite a bit, so fair play. But there has been accusations of lack of defensive responsibility from him. Doesn't do his duties. Maybe he feels like he's bigger than the team. He feels like he's the star. He can kind of slack off a bit because what he provides the other end makes up for it. And maybe if you're Messi or Ronaldo, that can be the case, but I don't know if Leao is that good where he can be a liability off the ball. We would have to maybe rectify that. I was also watching him yesterday closely, and there were occasions yesterday, I have to say, as well as he played, and he played brilliantly, there were a couple of occasions where he just was very lackadaisical for no reason. Why he had the fullback squared up and he had all that space. He was like, you know what, I don't fancy this one. And I was like, why? What is it about is he just sometimes switches off, or is it a mentality thing? Why is he not relentless? Like, I feel like if it was a Savinho or Newton in that position, he goes for it. But for some reason, Leao, in a couple of occasions yesterday, he was like, he got played quickly and he had all this space to run into. He just didn't fancy it and he just passed it back. He was a bit lazy. So I was looking at that thinking, okay, question mark there. But you have to say, more often than not, when he did get the ball, he was the spark for Portugal. He was by far Portugal's best player. He was the one who was making things happen yesterday. And I also think maybe, has he been in Milan too long? Does he just need a fresh environment? He wants to come to the Premier League. He wants a new challenge. Maybe, he's been at Serie A and he's been in Milan. Also, Milan have been a bit of a mess as well over the last few years. Does he want, something to spark him into life? Could Tottenham be that thing? I would definitely consider a loan, because I think if you get him on... the only thing I'd say about a loan is, you could fall into Moani territory in a sense that you're getting a player only here for a year who doesn't seem that committed, and because he knows he's only here for a year, so you've got to be wary of that. But I would definitely consider a loan, because if he can convince us he's our guy and he can convince us he is that star player that we need, and we can get him for a decent fee, like 60 to 70 million, then we got one hell of a player on our hands, and we have got a real star in the making, and he could be that final piece in the puzzle for our forward line. He could be that good, but there's just still those concerns, aren't there?
The thing is with those concerns, and why I don't think it will be like a Moani, because I don't think Moani ever wanted to come to Tottenham. He came to Tottenham as like a kind of last resort. I think his heart was always set on Juventus. He wanted to go back to Juventus at the back end, at the start of the season. Now he looks like he is going back to Juventus, and you might see a reinvigorated Moani next season, like what we saw at Juventus, the season before last. So with Rafael Leao, he's come out at the end of the season. He said, he wants a new challenge. He wants to move to the Premier League at his priority. So I think if we were to take him on loan with an option to buy, I think you're going to see Leao, trying his hardest, whether it be to stay at Tottenham or to stay in the Premier League, but definitely to stay in the Premier League at the bare minimum. So I think you might get a reinvigorated Leao if he was to come to the Premier League and Tottenham Hotspur, because I think it's a place that he wants to be and he wants to play at. And he's at the age of 27 now, coming into the prime, or he is in the prime years of his career. He's just had, whatever you want to say about Leao, he has always had the goal contribution returns. Good or bad seasons. This season just gone, he's probably had his worst goal contribution return. However, it's still decent. And he did also come out at the end of the season and said that he's been playing with injury for the last 5-6 months, and he's finally over it now. So he
looked over it yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah. So he said he's been playing through the pain barrier for the last 5 or 6 months. So yeah, it was just interesting to hear that from.
What was that he said after the game yesterday?
No, he said at the end of the season.
Ah, right.
So I'll be very interested in bringing Rafael Leao to Spurs. I agree with what you're saying. Bring in 2 different profiles of wingers, bring in a Savinho, bring in a Rafael Leao on loan alongside him, and then you can focus on the striker, whether it be Krupi or whoever else. I think that is a complete regeneration of that forward line, and it's something to be really excited about. And with Rafael Leao, where he is going to sell shirts, he's going to be an exciting talent, exciting signing, and he's a big name. You know, it's talking about a big name. We've obviously brought in a big name in Tonali, but if we brought in Rafael Leao, he'll be the biggest name that we've brought in this summer.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a Milan fan in the chat. He says, hi guys, this is from Josh ACM. I'm a Milan fan, and I have to say, temper expectations with Leao. Fantastic talent, but performances are only at the level of 1 out of every 3 games. Very inconsistent. That's just a lot of what we heard about Leao, isn't it? From a lot of Milan fans. We've had Icky in our chat saying very similar things about Rafael Leao. He's obviously a big Milan fan as well. So the thing is with Leao, when you see what he can do like yesterday, it's like, okay, you just got to get that guy in our team. He's that good. He can make the difference in any given game. But we're not watching him over a long stretch of games, are we? We're not watching him over a whole season. And if we were, would we have a different opinion of him? Maybe that's the case. I think no one disagrees. The talent is there. He's got unbelievable ability. He comes in as easily our best attacker talent-wise, and in certain games he will get you off your seat, and he will, get your jaw dropping in awe and all that kind of stuff with some of the stuff he can do. It's just a question is, if let's say we do sign him permanently, put him on a very big contract, and commit big funds to him, that comes with expectation of being that star guy on the level of some of the best players in the Premier League, winger-wise. And does he consistently bring that kind of level of quality? That's the question. And I think he has done in some seasons. I think the guy says 1 in 3. I think maybe, the last couple seasons that's true. But I remember he had a couple of seasons where he was bang on it, and he was linked with Arsenal, and everyone was saying this guy, he's going to world-class territory. And then for one reason or another, it just kind of never kicked on from that, and his form's kind of gone inconsistent, and he hasn't kind of got that level of consistency that'll put him in the upper echelons of there's a reason why, let's be honest, there's a reason why he's linked with us and not the bigger clubs, but it's because of that consistency, isn't it? So those are the question marks. I think a loan deal would obviously be preferable right now just because of those concerns, but I have to say, if we were to sign him, given the talent he has, I mean, it would be a mouth-watering prospect. I couldn't help but get super excited and buzzing about a signing like him. And that, as we were saying, like, I really think having that player with De Zerbi in the squad, imagine you have some like Kudus and Savino running at their fullback for 60. Obviously, Leao's probably going to want to start. I'm just saying, imagine having them running at their fullback for 60 minutes, then 70 minutes, then you got Leao coming off the bench, or even Leao doing the same, and then Savino coming off the bench, and up against a tiring fullback and how much damage they can do. And I also think Leao would be the only player who you would back to like just get the ball, cut inside and whip one into the far corner from 25 yards. I don't see any other players right now being capable of that, like on a consistent basis, where I think Leao maybe could be that special guy. So basically, my point would be is I don't see us getting anyone as talented as Leao through the door. But the question mark is talent enough, I guess.
Yeah. I think as well, like when you're talking about it, like Roberto De Zerbi could be the perfect coach he needs right now to get that spark back in his career, because it has, as much as the goal, there's been question marks over him for the last 2 or 3 years now. So when you mention it's gone stale at AC Milan, has he had a coach like a Roberto De Zerbi which will get the best out of him, which is an attacking coach, a forward-thinking coach, and that has proven to get the best out of like attacking talent? I don't know if he has. So the Premier League and Roberto De Zerbi could just be the spark that he needs to get back to his best.
All the things with Zerbi, he's so passionate and he's so kind of obsessed with football, and he lives for it. And we heard Madison talking about how after training, he's there in the training ground like hours after the game, analysing and all that kind of stuff. And he lives and breathes it. So if Leao is, if his mind is wandering on other things, he wants to have a rapping career and all this kind of stuff, that he's been doing that, and he's had some distractions. If there's any element of that, De Zerbi will not have it. You know what I mean? So if there's one manager to keep him on, focused on the task at hand, it could be De Zerbi 100%.
Exactly. He'll throw away his microphone, that's for sure. But yeah, that's Rafael Leao. Let us know your thoughts on him in the comment section below. Would you like to see him at Spurs next season, potentially on a loan, or even to go? Like 60 million is not exactly the craziest fee, like 60 million euros as well.
Yeah, I mean, in this market, to get a player of that quality, it's not. But as I say, I mean, there is a reason why he's available for that little amount, and there's a reason why none of the other top clubs are currently circling around him.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into consideration. But maybe there's an opportunity there. Maybe they're missing a trick. That could be possible as well.
We'll see. We'll leave that decision up to Roberto De Zerbi, and if he feels that he can get him on side, then I'm all for it. Next up, let's talk about Somerville, an interesting situation here. So Ben Jacobs has said that Manchester United have open talks with West Ham over Crescencio Somerville. Direct club-to-club talks are underway. But any bid can be contingent on Rashford being sold. Sky Sports have said that Tottenham do still remain in the race, and with United aware, they could lose out to Spurs if they don't move quickly. We have got the opportunity to do something hilarious once again right now.
We have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. I guess if you're Man United, that is that is the worry. That is the concern when Tottenham are sniffing around at this current moment, because clearly we can offer better financial packages than them right now. So if we're seriously interested in Somerville, you've got to be running scared if you're Man United, clearly. I like Somerville. He's having a brilliant World Cup as well. He's actually been playing
a brilliant World Cup. He's gone home now.
Yeah, he's gone home, but he was playing really well. He was playing actually mostly on the right-hand side, interestingly enough, but still putting in some really good performances, showing he can maybe a bit more versatile than I gave him credit for, because I didn't really see him having too many great games on the right, but he's actually done really well. I think he's not as special as someone as Leao, but maybe he's a bit more consistent, or he has been over the last 6 months anyway, a bit more consistent than someone like a Rafael Leao. He's great dribbling in between the lines, and he's very fleet of foot. He can dance in between players. He attacks a space with such speed. It's really, really impressive, Somerville. I also think he's got more to bring in terms of goals and assists. I think we saw glimpses of it last season with West Ham, and I think he's got a lot more in his locker. A few times he would have a shot which hit the bar or post, like from range and stuff, when inches away, and if he just sharpens up, he could easily be upping those goal contributions consistently, in my opinion. So there's a very good player there. Similar to what I would say about Nusa, I would say he's probably more an alternative to Savinho than maybe Leao. But I do like him. I don't think he's a bad option at all. I think Savinho is a bit more creative than Somerville, but Somerville I think is a bit more of a goal threat, and as well I think he's better when cutting inside than Savinho, who I think prefers to go on the outside. So just different depending on what Zerbi wants.
I really like Somerville, and I think he could blow up even more if he was in a better team and a more functioning team. We saw he was in West Ham and he had to do a lot of things just on his own at times, like he was like a one-man attack at times. Can you imagine if he had an actual team around him to actually play off? So I think if he goes to Manchester United, if he goes to Tottenham, I think you'll see an even better version of Somerville than what you've seen for West Ham last season. And I think for the last 3-4 months of the season, he was electric. He really was. It was hard to get the ball off him. He was scoring goals. So I would definitely be open to seeing Somerville at Spurs. It's just a question. I'm just still unsure of who I prefer over Somerville and Savinho, because I do think, I agree, I think it will only be one of the two. So I'd be happy for either, to be honest. But I think Somerville has probably proven in the Premier League that he's more able to get goals. Savinho hasn't proven it just yet, but I think he does have the talent to go and do it. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and I think the price for Somerville will be a lot lower probably than what a Savinho would cost.
I don't know. I mean, they were saying 45, but first of all, with the World Cup, has that gone up? And also with Fernandes' sale, has that gone up a bit? And they were very strict with their price for Fernandes, weren't they?
Yeah.
Of 85 million. If they're doing that, will the price be, similar? Not 85 for Somerville, but, something like 60, 55 with interest from Man United, from Spurs, and maybe other clubs apparently for Somerville. So I do wonder what the price would be now. I wonder if it's gone up.
Could be. It very well could be. But, we know that they said, if a player wants to go, he can go. I wonder if they agreed on a price or something before he went to the World Cup, because we know that kind of talks were going on then. So, yeah, it remains to be seen. We don't know. There's no figure banded around, really, like there was with Mateus Fernandes. So I would suspect something like 50 million, I would say, at the top end.
You would think so. I mean, there was talks of 45 before the World Cup. So let's see. But I just do wonder if now they've got a big windfall, I wonder if they put the price up.
So that's Somerville. Let's talk about Lucas Bergvall. Spurs journo talking about him once again. And he's saying that he understands that Tottenham and Lucas Bergvall prefer to avoid a transfer away from the club. However, if a good enough offer were to come in, Bergvall, the situation could be reignited. Bergvall actually does want to stay at Tottenham. However, he wants assurances of playing time that Spurs cannot provide. The situation is open. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think that's kind of where we all thought it was. Like, Bergvall's not pushing for a move because he wants to leave Spurs. He's pushing for a move because he wants to get playing time. He would ideally like to do that at Spurs, but that's not looking likely.
Yeah, and I think, look, the goal has always been to make it at Tottenham. He came here to be here for a long time, and he came here to develop with a lot of promises from Spurs that he's going to come in and be a starter, and we're gonna develop him and give him the game time and all that kind of stuff. So obviously last season hasn't worked out. As I've said, I think last season has really, and also the prospect of having a similar season next season has really changed his perspective on what the future of his career potentially could look like, because he doesn't want 2 years of stagnation. I think if we could promise him that game time next season, I'm sure he'd be happy to stay, but unfortunately it just isn't the case. And it's just kind of a timing thing. It's a shame if it ends this way, because I think we all want Bergvall to be part of this future of this football club, and we all believe in his talent. But I think last season's done a lot of damage to him, and I think it's kind of scarred him a bit, I feel, maybe, like what happened last season. And he just needs, I feel like he needs to make assurances of what's going to happen. And if he has 2 years stagnation at his age, that can be very, very harmful. So I think if Bergvall got those assurances, he would stay. But he's not getting them, and look at the signings we're making. So, he's looking at the situation like, well, as much as I would prefer to stay, it doesn't look like it's the best decision for my career to stay here right now. And you could probably get a bit of money, to help ease the burden on whatever money you're spending. So could it work out for everyone?
Look, the guy's got top talent. He'll have no end of problem finding a club and finding consistent football somewhere. It just feels like the times just aren't aligning for Spurs right now, because we're going in a different direction. So if he does go, I wish him the best, and I'm sure he's going to have a top career. But if he does go as well, I want to see us put some clauses like we did for Luka Vuskovic as well. I
do wonder. No, I mean, someone said go a whole stream without mentioning Ange, but I'm going to mention him. I do wonder if he did got season 3, what would Bergvall be this season, and would we be in this position with him? But who knows? What? Obviously, that's a different timeline. But we know that Ange liked to play Bergvall in his best position, when that got the best out of him. And I'm sure he would have played a lot of minutes there last season if Ange was there.
Would you have taken season 3 with Ange, now knowing what the Thomas Frank season has brought us?
Oh, yeah. I would have taken season 3 with Ange, for sure. What do you mean?
Because Thomas Frank has come in, nearly got us relegated, and now we've shut ourselves and started spending big.
I would in that context, I still would have taken it, because I think Ange might well have. Look, I don't think Ange would have done as badly as Frank, but he might well have been gone anyway, and we might be back in a similar situation. So I think I would have done so many things to avoid what happened last season. That's for sure.
But last season could have been the best thing that ever happened to us.
Potentially, if that's the reason why we're splashing the cash. Yeah.
Anyway, let's finish off on João Palhinha. All the reliable journalists, Tom Barkley, Fabrizio Romano, Florian Plettenberg, saying he is 100% leaving Tottenham now, and he has taken to social media to write a heartfelt message to the Spurs fans. He says, "Dear Coys, I am writing this message with a heartfelt gratitude for all the kindness and support you've always shown me throughout my time at this special club. Representing Tottenham has been profound impact on my life, not only professionally, but also personally, and it is something I will carry with me forever. I always tried to repay in the best way I could all the affection, respect and trust you showed me both on and off the pitch. As I have said before, what truly defines a great institution and a great football club is its supporters, players, managers and directors come and go, but the fans remain. You are the ones that keep the flame of this club burning season after season. I could not leave without expressing my special thanks to my teammates, the club's directors, the fitness coaches, the entire medical team, and especially my dear Alessandra Massimi. London gave me more than my professional career. It gave me 2 homes that I will always carry in my heart with the utmost respect and gratitude. I say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much. Come on, you Spurs, with a white heart emoji. That is a very heartfelt message. And he does go with a heavy heart because he provided so much for us. They say never fall in love with a lone player. I did fall in love with João Palhinha towards the end there. He saved us from relegation. And we'll always look back on him fondly. And, you know, you look back on him as probably the most successful lone player we've ever brought in.
Oh, I had a Klinsmann.
Apart from Klinsmann.
I think is he a legend? I think legend's a stretch. Cult hero, for sure. He's definitely a massive cult hero at Tottenham, considering what he's done and how he left us and how he saved us at the back end of last season. It's sad to see him go. As much as I agree with the decision, I think it is the right decision to not re-sign him and go in a different direction and really start going for real quality in the central midfield, which we just lacked so much last season. I did obviously grow very fond of Palhinha and his mentality, his personality. He really took to the Tottenham fans. As much as whatever anyone wanted to say about Palhinha, whether he lacked this or that or whatever flaws he had to his game, no one can deny that every game he put in 110%. He gave his
top mentality.
Yeah, he put his heart, blood, sweat, and tears into every single game. Every single minute he was on the pitch, he gave everything. And 100%, if it wasn't for him, would most likely be in the Championship with those moments last season. Big moments. He was a bit of a clutch player in big moments in big games as well. And he never got overawed by occasions. He was great in those aspects. Obviously, I think when it comes to De Zerbi and how we want to be playing football next season, for me, it was just never really a natural fit. As much as De Zerbi was always talking him up and saying he 100% wants him to stay, at the end of the day, I think in his heart of hearts, I think De Zerbi knows that it probably wasn't one of the natural fit.
He might have wanted him to stay. He just wanted Fernandes and Tonali more.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, I wish him all the best. I do wonder where he ends up. I wonder, is he going somewhere else in the Premier League? Does he go back to Sporting? It's going to be interesting.
Sporting, the finances could be a bit too much for him.
Look, he's going to have suitors because he's a good player. And I think everyone knows from his time at Fulham. Yeah, from his time at Fulham and obviously the season at Tottenham, I think people are looking at thinking, yeah, we could do that with that kind of player in our squad. So I'm sure he'll land on his feet. And it is what it is when it comes to João. But best of luck, João. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for our Premier League status. And we wish you all the best.
Absolutely. Big up to João Palhinha. And that is your Tottenham update for today. Let's move on. We've got a very special guest coming on the show today. It's been a long time coming. We haven't spoken to this man for a very long time. He was the first interview that we ever did when we started the channel with a rival fan. Let's bring him on. Lee Lawler, Newcastle Fans TV. Lee, it's been a long time, mate. How are you?
I've had better summers, put it that way. I'm sure you're gonna bring that up any moment. But I have been enjoying the sunshine, even sunny up bonny Newcastle. So we're getting the sun again. So I'm alright. I'm just itching now for pre-season. I've already gone to non-league games, so I'm just waiting for pre-season to come. Thanks for getting to some games. But how are yous?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. I mean, I couldn't believe I'll be saying this at the back end of last season, just about surviving relegation, and now Spurs are 40 million deep into the transfer window. I can't quite believe this is my football club and what we're doing right now. But yeah, look, we got to talk about Sandro Tonali. Could you envisage, through 2 weeks ago, that this could be a serious option for Sandro Tonali to join Spurs for £100 million?
Well, I did say on Sky back in March, I think he would be the one player that will go this summer. Anthony Gordon, I was like, I wasn't 100% certain because I think he's dipped, and I think Tonali's form's a bit of a dip last season as well. But I think you have overpaid for him. I generally do. I think he's probably worth about 70 million. But I think you can easily say that about Newcastle. You look at like the signings of Wissar and Valdemar at the end of last summer. We've definitely overpaid. But to get up to 100 million for a player he was good last season, but he had a better season the season before. He was like literally that was his peak. But there is question marks around, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate from Spurs fans here. So there's the questions: why has he moved to Spurs? Because you would think naturally he's being sold the project idea to Newcastle when we had the takeover, and getting into Champions League football and winning the League Cup and what have you. And you would think the natural progression then, okay, he's going to join a club that wins things. I'm not being disrespectful because we don't win things either. But, you know, like a Man City, or he's going to go to a Barca or Real Madrid, like a huge name. But he's obviously admitted it in his interview at the airport, literally just saying that he's obviously new baby, new family, moving to London for the lifestyle. And of course, the Zerbi comes from Brescia, which obviously is his hometown. So he's being sold a project, which we were a little bit surprised about, I can't lie.
Yeah, so do you think the interest from City and Arsenal, do you think that was very serious? Do you think they weren't actually prepared to pay the money that would have taken to get Tonali there? Why? I understand he's decided to leave Newcastle and come to Tottenham, but do you believe he's actually rejected the likes of City or Arsenal, or do you think they were never really that interested?
I think it's the case that we weren't going to put the money down for that kind of money. It's a lot of money for a midfielder who was good last season, but there's nowhere near Bruno Guimaraes' level. That's the one player we were petrified of losing because he is literally tier 1 for us. I think Tonali's probably a tier 2 in that level, just behind him. But the question is, were Arsenal in for him? There was them rumours, Man City, but obviously they've gone and got Elliot Anderson, ironically, a former player of ours. But I think Spurs, I think you're improving your midfield. I really do. But you're definitely overpaid. But time will tell. Obviously, he's already, and as yesterday, he's already chirping on at the airport that he's already talking about Milan again. And we had that when he joined Newcastle. It was like, oh God, did he really want to be at Newcastle? Because obviously he was more or less forced out of his football club because Milan were obviously in financial difficulties, and then we had the gambling ban, and it feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth. I think with Tonali, not as bad as he's at though. I must stress.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of like posts on X from Newcastle fans around Tonali saying, you know, we stuck by him during his gambling ban, and you know, he's only been here for 2 years. Is there a sense of betrayal from you in terms of thinking about Tonali?
A little bit, but I think what gets forgotten about, he actually took a bit of a pay cut during that ban, which isn't out there much. So a lot of people don't bring that up. And as part of that, he had the clause in that Newcastle could extend it by another year to 2030. So a little bit, yeah. He hasn't stuck around for too long. Obviously, he got engaged up here. He got his obviously Mrs. pregnant up here. He's won a trophy up here. So he will have fond memories himself, but supporters will not look at that. You know that yourselves. When football moves fast, do players have loyalty? There's not much of that left in the modern game. And he's getting a massive, massive increase in wages. I think I've seen, correct me if I'm wrong, is it something like 275,000 a week? And he's getting, obviously, the luxury of living in London with all that money, and he's an hour away from Milan. I definitely think his missus has had a say in it as well, mind.
So from your part, how do you think he'll be remembered at Newcastle? Do you think he'll be remembered fondly, or he'll just be remembered as a guy who didn't stick around for too long?
I think it probably a mix of both, to be honest with you. I think obviously winning the League Cup is obviously that for us. We've talked to you doing the years many a times. My dream running a YouTube channel was to cover us winning the trophy. That's all I ever wanted. And I've seen that, and he was largely part of that, along with even Isak to some extent. But Tonali's left. He says that there was what was interesting at the airport, that he said there was already agreement in place. What I didn't like is these journalists flapping his gums every couple of weeks. It was constant. It was like, yeah, he's obviously fishing for a move, and because literally the player would tell the agent, stop what you're doing. But it was constant. It's like when that happens, there was something happening behind the scenes. So it's a mixture of both. To the answer to your question, ask me that in a few months' time when it dies down. How will I really feel? Because we might look back on it that, because you've got to remember, the season before last, he was absolutely sensational, and it was nice to see not just Newcastle fans picking it up on it. It was the neutrals, it was commentators, it was journalists. Wow, what a player Newcastle have! But obviously, like many, and it's not just him, but his form did dip last season, and that's the reason why we finished mid-table.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside looking in, I've always really appreciated Sandro Tonali and what he's brought to that Newcastle midfield. But what you've obviously watched him week in, week out, what kind of player are we getting, and how's he going to fit in to the Tottenham team?
So what I always say about him is, and I'll use the expression lungs. He has literally four lungs. That's what he has. He will get around that pitch, and even if it's in the first minute or the 90th minute, he will be sprinting to that corner flag, whichever direction, helping his teammate out. Technically, he's absolutely fantastic. He can ping a ball left, right. He can get his foot in, but he should contribute, I feel, a lot more goals. His numbers aren't particularly great. He's a shy lad. He's not one of them that would be a speaker in the dressing room. I think he's quite quiet. He very rarely catches a smile. It's just his personality. But I think he will improve your midfield. Obviously, I know he's had a couple of difficult seasons domestically, and the only way is up for you. But obviously, as I go back to Newcastle fans, you've seen it on social media. They can't quite fathom why he's gone to Spurs.
Yeah.
And I know we get it thrown back at Newcastle's faces that you have bigger commercial success by far, in terms of you've got better stadiums, you've got better training grounds. Historically, you've won more trophies down the years, but there's still that little bit of why has he gone to Spurs? And that sounds so disrespectful. And I go back to what I said earlier, is we expected him to then go on and play for Champions Leagues and win Premier League titles or La Liga or whatever. So. I think you have got a good player though. As much as I hate to say that.
Where in the Premier League, where would you rank him in terms of central midfielders? Like, where would he be in the top 5, top 10? Where would you think he places for you?
Well, depending on what you want to go by. If you want to go by numbers, it's not particularly high. But if you want to go by everything else, it would be. So I think he's definitely probably in the top 10 centre midfielders in the Premier League, because there isn't that many that are, in my opinion, box-to-box midfielders like him. I think he's definitely up there. I think the season before, as I mentioned, his good season, he's probably in the top 3. He was that good. He was absolutely sensational. If you can get that form back, you'll have some player on your hands. You really, really will. But time will see. But it's one of them. It's like I'm fond of him because obviously what he brought. We won a trophy with him. Newcastle, by the way, are getting some money, and it's an absolute fantastic piece of business for us, because us as a football club, we have to trade better, and we don't really, let's be honest. I think we're way behind because Mike Ashley didn't put any investment in. So when other clubs have grown their commercial stance, Newcastle couldn't. So we're forever playing catch up. So we've got to use that money wisely. And obviously we're linked to Manzabi, who's doing bits for Switzerland. So hopefully we can get that one over the line.
Yeah, but we talk about overpayments, 100 million. But isn't case in point last season? I think Newcastle were quite a good evidence of how quality sometimes is just worth paying for, because Isaac, you sold for 115 million. It's a massive piece of cash there. You got a massive fee for him, and you think, okay, we've got all this money. Let's go replace him. Then you spent 70 on Voltemada and 55 on Wissa, but you just couldn't replicate what Isaac gave you, could it? So, as much as we've overpaid, isn't replacing him going to be just as difficult as good as getting that cash is? If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, replacing quality is difficult. I mean, I can throw that back at you and say, have you replaced Harry Kane?
Exactly.
No,
because
we haven't.
Exactly.
No,
goal
100%.
scorers, goal scorers are the most difficult thing to replace. And you look at, like, I'll give you an example of the World Cup. If you take Messi out of Argentina are bang average. Take Harry Kane out of England are bang average. You take Haaland out of Norway, you see where I'm going with, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
It's very, very difficult to replace goals. And yes, Valdemar started the season off fantastically, and then he's obviously form's dipped after scoring the own goal against the Mackhams, and then he's played in midfield, and Wissa was basically injured, and we expect bigger things of you and Wissa. But as you know, goals are incredibly difficult, and I'll say that with Tonali, because Newcastle now have to go and find a replacement and someone that comes in straight away, right from the off. We can't have a player that needs time, because we've obviously bought Ramsey for that. We need someone to come straight in off the off who's going to play alongside Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton.
Yeah, what is going on at Newcastle, by the way? You got all this money, and why are you selling so many players this summer? Obviously, Tonali's gone, Gordon's gone, 70 million. Please don't tell me you're going to sell Bruno Guimaraes to those lot. Please don't tell me.
We can't. I'm telling you, we cannot sell Bruno Guimaraes. He's the one world-class player that we have. He is literally right up there. He can play for any club. And you've seen it at the World Cup. He's already got 4 assists this season. The play through Brazil goes through him. We cannot lose him. And that offer that Arsenal put in, it was insulting.
Yeah.
For 55 million, it really, really was. So we can't lose him. We've got great money for Gordon, up to 80 million. I mean, he had another indifferent season. We can't afford to lose any more, and it'll be interesting when pre-season comes back a week on Monday, because Eddie Howe's going to be shoved cameras in his face, and unfortunately, he'll be the one that has to answer them because the board, whether you like it or not, are hiding. And this is probably the lowest point, I would say, in the reign of the PIF, 100% because of no communication.
Well, for you, there's been a lot of talk about Tottenham being able to spend all this money, over 200 million, after finishing 17th twice at Newcastle and Villa, despite last few seasons, finishing above Spurs, are still hamstrung with PSR, and they're not able to spend, and they're having to sell to buy and all these kind of things. Where do you sit on that? Do you understand how Tottenham are able to spend? Does it frustrate you? Do you think the rules need changing? Where's your stance? Oh,
I think we lost him.
oh, just getting interesting.
Is he still there?
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Let's see if we can get him back. See, leave.
Is he back or is he gone?
He is gone right now. He's just rejoining.
He's rejoining.
He said his phone is overheating.
Ah,
His
okay.
phone's done. Well,
Damn. Well, I guess we'll never know. Send us a voice note.
he's sending a voice note.
Oh, wow, okay.
So just as we wait for this voice note to come through, I mean, yeah, look, obviously from a Newcastle fan's perspective, we're getting a very good player. In Sandro Tonali, we expect the announcement any minute now, really. It's got to come very soon.
Yeah, I mean, has he done his medical? He flew to London
Medical
yesterday.
was yesterday.
Well, he flew to London yesterday.
I mean, I heard the medical was yesterday as well, so I don't know. We'll wait and see. But we'll just get this voice note through. But hopefully it will do today.
Yeah, I mean, it should be, in theory. We saw Fernandez.
Has it been announced?
What? Tonali?
Someone just messaged me saying, I told you the number 16 shirt. Is that? No, it hasn't been announced.
He's going to get number 8, surely. He's replacing Basuma.
He's not. Conor Gallagher just got number 8.
Oh, yeah, shit, I forgot about that. Well, tell Connor to step aside.
Oh.
So we'll get number 22.
22. Why 22?
Connor's number. See, Connor knew Tonali was coming, didn't he? So he thought he'd
That's
steal
what we
in.
said when he took the 8 shirt.
Taking it, because why announce it? I'm
just trying to see what numbers are available. So he won't take 2, 3, 4, 6. I think he takes 6.
6. Oh yeah,
Should take
Paulinia's number.
He should take the number 6. 12, 16.
Over Squitch, yeah, he's going.
Can't be 18. Yeah, so basically 22, 16, 6, or 2.
Yeah, ain't gonna be number 2. I wonder if Porro will move.
Yeah, I reckon Porro goes to number... Well, I don't know. I think he likes 23.
Yeah. Did he send that voice note?
Yes. All right, let's put this by the microphone.
Yeah, so the question, thanks, Tim. I think I do understand why Spurs can spend that kind of money. I think also you've got to remember it's the new SER as well from the 1st of July. So obviously that previous 3 years can fall off. Look, I think obviously Spurs have commercially grown up and down for the last few years and having even things like hosting NFL games, concerts. Obviously, they've grown commercially. Newcastle can't. Well, as I say, we'll go back to Mike Ashley. He didn't do any of that. And I know a lot of Newcastle fans begrudge Spurs for voting against them with the takeover. And that probably might lingers with the Tonali transfer. And like maybe some Newcastle fans don't like the fact that they feel you might even say that some are salty about it. But I think Spurs can. You look at the big 6 commercially, they're still way out in front, and the teams like Aston Villa and Newcastle are having to play catch up. Some of the rules probably do need a little bit tweaked. and obviously the SER has come in where if you're not in Europe, you can spend 85%, but if you are in Europe, it goes down to 70%. But realistically, if you are trying to get into Europe, you've got to stay to 70%, which is difficult because Newcastle have just received a small fine from UEFA. So yes, we can spend up to 85% this season, but realistically, we'll probably need to stay at 70 if we're going to get it in Europe, just to match and make sure UEFA are happy. But I don't know. It's something that needs to give, and obviously, it's the only business that I know in football where you can't put money into your own football club and invest. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. But thanks very much for having us on, guys.
Big up to Lee.
Thank you, Lee. Big up to you. It's good to see you, Lee. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, great call. Great insight as well into Tonali and into Newcastle. I see a lot of frustrated Villa and Newcastle fans, frustrated with the fact that we're able to spend, vast sums of money, and they're struggling, to get their targets, and they're not allowed to pump money into their club. But at the end of the day, look, I get it. I think if I was in their position, I'd also be very frustrated because they have been better than us over the last few years, and they should be rewarded with that. I think the frustration comes from when we were growing up in football, when we were watching it, and I think how it started in the early days was how were you able to spend lots of money was by winning things, and you get rewarded for good performance on the pitch. That's how United were able to spend all their money, back in the 90s and stuff, winning all the trophies, and they were able to get the best players.
If a rich owner comes in and just pumps money in.
Yeah, that'll happen with Blackburn, happen with Chelsea, obviously.
It doesn't matter because there was no rules in place to
also true.
protect anything. Exactly, like Blackburn, that's why they won that Premier League.
Yeah.
Because Jack Walker came in and just funded the whole thing. Chelsea, Man City, all that, and then Newcastle come along and their big ownership, and everyone's like, all the Newcastle fans are excited. Then they're hamstrung by all this PSL.
Then we change the rules, so I get the frustration because they just think either way we should be rewarded for good performance on the pitch, like getting Champions League and whatever, and we should be not rewarded, but we should be able to take advantage of the fact we've got trillionaire or whatever, big multi-billionaire owners we should be gaining the advantages that other teams have in the past, but unfortunately they're just not able to because of the new rules. But the new rules are in place, to stop things like Leeds happening and other clubs who have put their club in financial difficulty in the pursuit of higher footballing performance, and there's had big consequences for some clubs. So the rules are there for a purpose, but the consequences are those rules are the teams with the biggest revenues are always going to have that advantage. So until Villa and Newcastle are maximising their revenues like Tottenham are, they won't ever be able to spend as much as we will. Yeah. That's the reality. We make more in revenue than they do. They combined.
Yeah, it's true. But then it kind of does become very much a closed shop with the top six. The top six can basically do what they want pretty much, and everyone else are scrambling around and hamstrung by these PSR rules.
Yeah, part of me would, I think, I don't know how you change it. Do you just let
City was so lucky that Sheikh Mansour came along before these rules came in.
But what should the rules be? Should the rules just be take the handbrake off and just let everyone spend what they want, and then risk other clubs putting owners putting their own clubs into massive debt and all this kind of stuff, and risking it, but then it allows the likes of Villa and Newcastle to maybe pump money into the club and then compete? Or should it be on the likes of Newcastle and Villa to maximise their revenues more and concentrate on that? But they're a football club at the end of the day, and that's their main focus. So their focus at the moment isn't let's get more concerts in, let's develop a racing F1 track like Tottenham, let's do all these things. Their Villa's revenue is 97% ratio. Ours was 42%. It makes a big difference, all these things. So, I don't know what the answer is. I think right now, as the rules are, the answer is you just got to play by the rules, and the answer is you just got to get more revenue. And
I tell you what, we gave Daniel Levy so much shit while he was here for not going strong in the transfer windows. That's been covered to death. But we've always said we give him credit for the business acumen that he has, and he's probably the best in the business in that sense. But literally, he has given us the platform to be what we are and be able to spend what we are doing right now. So I think, when Daniel Levy said that, you'll look back at my time and appreciate what I've done, I think we should appreciate what he's done for the football club, because the club that he's taken over and the club that he's left, yes, fine, we could have done a lot more when he was here in terms of on sporting merit, and I won't forgive him for those kind of things, and I don't want him as my chairman right now. But looking back at the work that he did and leaving us on a platform to do what we can do now, I think is unbelievable, to be honest.
Yeah, and the reality is when he took over and for the years after that, we were on a very much, we could easily be Villa and Newcastle right now. Very easily. We could just be a club who's good, but doesn't have the revenues to compete. But because of all that work he put in behind the scenes, 100%, we're now in a place where we shouldn't really be in that sense. We shouldn't be able to compete financially with these massive clubs, but because Levy done all that good work, we are a club that's somehow able to do it. Because we're the only one in the top six who haven't won regular big trophies over these last 20 years, yet we're the only one. We're the only one who haven't won them and can also compete financially. Everyone else has been lagging behind. So I think it just goes to show the great work he has done, 100%. But he never had the balls to really use that financial advantage to our advantage on the footballing side.
Yeah, exactly.
He never did.
And that's why he had to go, and that's why he's probably had to go for the last number of years. So I'm delighted he's moved on, and it was a great day when he left the football club. But I don't think we should forget the space that he's left us in terms of being able to flex our financial muscle.
It was an interesting conversation. I think we've all been hearing Simon Jordan on TalkSport doubling down. He was saying, and Brad Frieda was also on with him, and he was saying, look, the Spurs. Jim White asked him, "Is it Levy's? Is the current spending spree evidence that Levy was holding Tottenham back, and now they're able to spend, and now they're able to." Loosen the purse strings. Now Levy's gone because he was just an accountant and he was always thinking about the money, and yet they're spending big money now on two players. And Simon Jordan's retort was that it wasn't Levy who set the budgets, it was the hires up, and it was the hires up who are now in charge, and they're the ones who have taken over and decided to take the reins of the footballing side, and they've now changed their tune, and from we're a club that wants to maximise revenues to we're a club that now actually wants to use those revenues to compete, and we actually want to spend massive money, and we actually want to show a bit more ambition. So is it Levy's fault that he was only set a certain budget, or was it Levy setting the budget? I guess that's the question. I understand his thinking, but I just feel like did Levy have no say over how much we could spend? Like he, as much as he had someone higher than him, he was very involved, and he's Joe Lewis's, what is he? They're like family almost. Like they were family. I don't think, as much as obviously it is was the Lewis family at the time kind of having the final say on what the budgets are, I'm pretty sure Levy was in those discussions setting the budget.
Levy is an accountant, and by the very nature was very frugal with the money, and he always kept banging on about every penny that goes into this club comes back out and is spent on transfers and spent on the club. That never seemed to materialise, that never seemed to happen. As the time wore on, we spent more money on the transfer window, but it wasn't just about how much money he was spending. It was about the decisions of what kind of players he was bringing in. It wasn't always a case of money.
And the negotiation style.
Exactly. There was so many different factors that went into why Spurs couldn't push on the pitch under Daniel Levy. It wasn't all just about how much money we were spending.
But I guess the point Simon Jordan's making is Levy he had to negotiate the way he did, and he had to spend the money in the way that he did, and the wages, because that was set to him by the Lewis family. That would be his argument. Now the Lewis family are just basically paying whatever they want, and they're just saying yes, yes, yes. That's because that's their decision to loosen the purse strings. And if Levy had that leeway, he's arguing maybe he would have done the same.
I think that there might be some sort of validity to it, but I also feel that if Levy wanted to, he could have pushed the boat out a bit more. But again, it comes down to decision making on the footballing side of things. Constantly chopping and changing things, bringing in players that don't fit, the recruitment model. Maybe the wage structure is what hamstrung him in terms of from the higher ups. Maybe the higher ups didn't let him kind of extend that wage structure. Maybe that's you can say.
See, the thing I would say back to that is I just don't agree that Levy didn't have a say. I understand
He might not have had a say, but he might not have the final say.
I just he's the guy who was the guy who was managing the money. He was the guy who was basically the accountant in the room. I think he was very much in control of what our budget should be, and I'm pretty sure that he was probably the one telling the Lewis family, I think we should keep the money at this rate. I think we should only be paying this much.
I don't disagree.
I don't think it's the Lewis family telling him. Obviously, the Lewis family have a say as well. I'm sure they do. But I don't think it was the case. It was just the Lewis family setting the budget and Levy working within it. I'm pretty sure Levy was well on board with that budget being set, and he had a massive say in it.
And I think it's proof when he's saying to Simon Jordan, Brighton have had their pants pulled down.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because he's saying that because never in a million years would he pay that.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure in the room, he was probably the authority on the budget. That's what I would think. If I'm imagining how that boardroom would be set, I understand that the Lewis family are above him. I completely get that. But he's the accountant. He's the money man. I'm pretty sure he was probably the one setting the budget. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't think he had this lack of autonomy like Simon Jordan is inferring, in my opinion. So I just don't buy if Simon Jordan that's saying that if Levy was just given permission to loosen the purse strings, he would also be spending 92 million or whatever on these players. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with that. So, I mean, we're sailing off into the sunset. Very happy that Daniel Levy has left the club. And it, like I said, needed to happen for so many years. He was holding us back on the footballing side for so many years. And now it just feels like the dark cloud has descended over this football club. And we can actually, we kept talking about, we need to be in line with this. We need to be in line with that. The PSR rules are coming. The next rules are coming. We need to be in line with it. And because of the work he did in keeping us in line for so many years, we're able to do this. So it's kind of, you can look back at his time at Spurs positively and negatively.
Yeah.
Mainly negatively because all the shit that we had to go through. We had to go through so much shit because of how kind of stringent he was with it all. And we could have spent so much more and still stayed in line with the rulings and stuff, and we could have definitely made better decisions over the course of time. Just look at the transfer windows we had when Jose Mourinho was our manager, Conte was our manager. He was able to push the boat out and getting top managers in, but there was no point doing that when you're bringing in the Matt Dohertys and the Clement Lengleys and all this kind of Jedson Fernandez, you know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. So we always had the power to do this, but we're never going to do it under him because of his frugal nature.
In terms of having more money to spend, there have been reports yesterday, Sammy Mockbell, saying Spurs could spend with all the financial regulations and the lack of Europe, so the what the restrictions have on us, we could spend up to an extra 250 million this transfer window. Yeah, potentially. Yeah. That's even. I'm guessing that's even before sales and any net spend that we get any money back. Which is mad to think. So we've already spent 230 million, and we could still spend another 250 million with. We want 3 signings. Would 250 million in itself be enough to get the 3 signings we need in the forward line?
I want more.
More.
I want more. Give me more.
What more do we need?
No, I'm kidding. I mean, 250 million probably gets you. Maybe a few extra quid, but probably gets you the 3 players that we were talking about before in a Krupi, a Leao, and a Savinho or a Somerville.
Yeah, Krupi and Leao, that's 160 probably.
Yeah, particularly if we bring him in on loan.
Yeah, well, let's say if we sign him permanently, that's 160, and then that's 90 million for another player.
Well, it's 60 million euros, so it's even less than that.
Yeah.
So
well, so there's another 100 million then. So we could in theory buy another 2 players, basically another 2 Tonales. Yeah. We could buy another if we wanted to, according to that.
And you'd probably think we could do more with player sales as well.
Yeah, with player sales, which is set to, I would say, exceed 150 million. I think that's probably being negative. You know, you're looking at least 150 million probably from sales with the players that we're talking about. You know, that's so we could that we could spend another 400 million then, in theory.
Yeah.
If that is the case, that everything we sell is going back into spending, we could maybe spend another 400 million.
Yeah, and maybe that's why you're hearing of these rumours of Spurs trying to go in for Kenan Yildiz and all these mad players. I've seen a few, you know, links by not reliable sources to like Bradley Barcola and stuff. Like, why not go and test the waters for these kind of players, Yildiz and Barcola?
I think if we got the money, I think flaunt it, and I think go for the best in class. That's what we've been doing in midfield. I think if we can get someone like one sec, if we can get someone like a Yildiz, that would be amazing. Obviously, Yildiz is very he loves Juve. He's a Juve boy. He wants to stay there. He wants to be, he's always said he wants to be a Del Piero. He wants to be a Juve legend. But at the end of the day, could Juve turn down 100 million?
I don't know if they'll turn it down, but will he accept to come here? That's you know, you need two things to go your way.
It's true, but I feel like a lot of the time, if the club are really like wanting that fee, and they're like, we know that Italian clubs, as we said, there's not as much money in Italy as there is in England. So a fee like that is game changing for a team like Juventus. So if they could get maybe 100 or even maybe a bit more, and they really want that, you know, sometimes players will go with a heavy heart. I'm trying to remember who I'm thinking of. There was a player.
Well, Tonali was one of them.
Yeah, Tonali. You know, he was kind of forced out by Milan. He wanted to stay, but Milan were like, we need that money. There are other players as well where they want to stay, but with a heavy heart, they see it as doing a club a favour because the club really need the money, and they get the big payday and they get a move to the Premier League anyway. So I think if Juventus if we get a deal agreeable to them, I reckon he could be tempted.
I think if that happens and they're willing to accept an offer, I suspect teams like Arsenal and Liverpool will definitely be coming in for him. No matter what the price is, because of the talent of the player. We know that Arsenal are looking for a left winger. We know that Liverpool desperately need players in the forward line. So I reckon for a player like that, they would match us in finances.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would absolutely love Yildiz. I think he's absolutely class. I think he's such a great player.
Kieran Maguire said that Tottenham's transfer fees are amortised over the length of the contracts, but limited to 5 years. So 240 million spend this summer equates to 48 million amortisation fee. Tottenham's total revenue of 24-25 was 565 million. Under SCR rules, they would be able to spend up to 480 million a year on their squad.
That's insane. Oh, that's Kieran Maguire's the finance guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who digs deep into the spreadsheets and the balance sheets and can explain exactly what's available and what's not. So if he's saying that,
and this is net,
that
by
is
the
true.
way. This is not just like spending. This is net.
480. So that makes sense of what Sammy Mopper was saying.
Yeah.
An extra 250 million.
Yeah.
That's basically our PSR headroom. So if we're willing to invest that money and we have that headroom and without sales as well, there is serious money to be spent here from Tottenham Hotspur. So that's why when you're hearing about Krupi and you're thinking, surely that's ridiculous and they want 100 million, they want an astronomical fee. Well, sounds like Tottenham are prepared to pay it because they have the money to do it. They have the room to do it. So let's get a Krupi. Go maybe even an Osimhen. Let's go for a Yildiz and let's just go for the best players. And if we can't get the top ones, then go for the next one and go for someone else. But I think we should be aiming for the stars. That's what we should be aiming for.
Can you say like are Spurs going like if we do go like let's say 150 million on Yildiz or like 110 million on Krupi, it's just like you're looking at teams like Arsenal. Arsenal just made like insane record profits this year, and they're pulling out of bids for that 16-year-old from Leicester. Man City gazumped him. They're saying no. They said Tonali was their first target, but they don't want to spend the money. Like, why are they being so frugal right now, Arsenal, when they've just won the league? You know, you got to strike while the iron's hot. They want these players in, Like, are Spurs going too far or Arsenal being too frugal? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I don't know what they're. I think have they got as much headroom as us in PSR? I don't really know what the situation. You would assume yes.
But it's come out saying like with getting to the Champions League final, winning the league, record sales, like the amount of shirts that they're selling is like insane at insane levels. The money that they're making, they have made like I think the most amount of money in world football in the last year.
I guess the difference is, look, I'm sure they're going to sign players. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there might be some big signings, even as they're talking about Rodgers for 130 million and all that kind of stuff.
They did all this legroom for Jeremy Monga, and they lost out on him for like 3 million or something stupid like that, and they were doing all this work all summer on him. I just don't get why they don't just put the money on the table and sign the player. And the same with Tonali.
Well, he's only Monga's 16.
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation is. I haven't really been following it. I have heard City have got him, but I don't really know I don't know why it's such a big deal. Is he a really good player? Maybe, I don't know. But
he made his debut in the Premier League at like 15 or something, and he's supposed to be a very good player.
Okay. I don't know why they pulled out. I doubt it's because they don't have 3 million.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But they're being frugal is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they're also talking about Konsa for big money and Morgan Rogers for big money. So I'm sure they will sign players to big money. But you also got to remember the squad is less needing of the big money signings that we are, aren't we? We're desperate, let's be honest. We need big players through the door. They have a title-winning squad right now, so they need to be very selective about who they bring in to make sure that it's an improvement. They can't just go splurge on 7 players for as much as we are, because where they're going to fit them all in, how they're going to play them all. Whereas we do, we need to do that basically.
Yeah. But like I get that 100%, and they only need to be in like 1 or 2 or 3 players in for big money, best in class, because they're the champions at the end of the day. But Tonali is a case in point. Like, they wanted Tonali. Sammy Mockbell said Tonali was their number 1 choice in midfield. Why didn't they just put the money down on the table?
Because maybe they're not prepared to overpay for. They've got
value on him. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think they've got crazy amounts of headroom, and I think they've got crazy amounts of money in the bank, but they're not willing to overspend. Like, why are they not willing to overspend?
Because that's not their model. You look at, apart from Rice, well, I don't know, obviously that wasn't overspent. 100 million. Look at all the other signings. It was Gyökeres for 64. It was like
they just brought in a
Havertz for
backup
60.
of Madueke for like over 60 million.
He was what, 55? He was 60, was he? I don't think it was
think
quite.
he was around
yeah,
60
but
million.
they needed a winger. But
That's an overpayment.
Yeah, but
You're telling me you'd spend 60 million on Madueke, but you won't spend 100 on Tonali in a position that you need?
But they do they need to spend 100 million on Tonali? I guess would be like they needed a backup to Saka, because Saka was just getting run into the ground every season, and he just got a big injury, so they needed that position.
And Zubimendi was run into the ground last season.
Yeah, but they had Rice. They've got obviously Lewis Skelly played there. They've I'm sure that do they need another midfielder? But maybe they just didn't think they really didn't think Tonali was worth 100 million. I'm guessing. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'm not in the room. I don't. All I can say is we're more desperate than them. So we're prepared to maybe do maybe the overpay. Maybe 100 million for Tonali is a big overpayment than we think. Or maybe Arsenal should have done it. Maybe they are being frugal. It's hard to say exactly what the reasons are. But all we can say is when it comes to Tottenham,
we're putting our balls on the table.
Exactly. We are spending the money, and there is more to come. And if the truth is that we've got another 250 million before sales, I mean, what is the rest of this window going to look like? Who should we be spending it on? Go all out for Krupi. I think Krupi makes a lot of sense.
I love it how we're just like, for the first time ever, we ain't sitting here being like opportunistic signings, opportunities in the
Go on
market.
transfer market. Who's got 1 year left on their
Exactly,
deal?
you know what I mean? Like, we are literally having a football manager summer, and I am here for every second of it. This has got to be the most exciting time to be a Spurs fan, and it's come off the back of nearly getting relegated as well. It's just madness. It really is. This transfer window that we're having, I'm still in shock. Sometimes I wake up and be like, did that really happen? Like, what?
I still can't believe it. Yeah, I still can't believe we spent all this money. It's we're just fucking massive. I think we're just absolutely massive. But do you think we spend another 300, 200,
I think we do.
300
I
million?
think we do. I think we do. And, you know, you're looking at it like, if we had this conversation like 3 weeks ago, we'll be laughed out the room. Everyone will be like, what the hell?
We're checking if you're, what are you on? Yeah.
Exactly. What the hell are you talking about? You really think, Tonali for 100 million, Fernandes for 85, and you're going to spend another 300 million, plus you bought Van Hecker with 1 year left in his deal for 52 million. Yeah, right, all right. Come on.
Even Senesi we didn't think we were going to get.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go Chelsea for sure. I was like, wow, I was even impressed we got Senesi, and he was the free one. Yeah, well, look at all these deals that we're making.
It is mental. It is mental, and, you know, this has just caught everyone by surprise, not just Spurs fans, but everyone around the Premier League. I think, you know, everyone must be watching this being like, what the hell are Spurs cooking up here? They've got to be. Because everyone just looks at Spurs as this team that, you know, are stringent with their finances, frugal with their money. And it's just a shock to the system, isn't it? A massive shock to the system.
I do wonder if there are some surprises. Like maybe we are just going to like sell Tell and then maybe just upgrade on him. Like maybe we will just get rid of Richarlison and Solanke and get 2 strikers in. Maybe we will just do that. Like it's possible, very possible.
I'm not against it.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I like Tell, but if we're going to go for like top talents and really just upgrade the squad and make it a behemoth of a squad, I'm all for selling Tell. As much as I like him, you know, I would only keep him because, you know, it's hard if we only got a certain amount to spend to find a better talent than him, and he could grow into something really good. But if we've got that amount of money, and if we sell him, you know, you add that to the kitty, and you can maybe get a Savinho and Leao just for the left, and then you signed another player just for the right, and maybe you get a Krupi and you get a bloody Osimhen. You just do it all. Then fuck it, sell whoever you need to sell to get all this business done like that. You know what I mean? Like there could be some surprise sales potentially.
Yeah, for sure. I don't doubt that at all. They're saying, I saw a report I think a couple of days ago that Spurs want to make 10 sales or something this summer.
So yeah, it's true. I heard 9 or 10. So who would 10 be?
Well, if you start from the back, you go for Vicario, Romero, Dragoshin, that's 3. You go into the midfield,
Sarr,
Bergvall, probably 5. Richarlison, 6. Any wingers that we're going to sell, do you reckon?
So, I mean, unless it is Tell, I can't see us selling an old Decky. I mean, whoever's going to spend on him. So maybe Bergvall's on the list.
Vuskovic was one as well, that's 7.
So maybe Bergvall makes it 8.
Yeah, I reckon like some of the players, I don't know if they're going to count
Did we say Sarr?
We said Sarr. I don't know if we count some in the team like Dane Scarlett and Alfie Devine and these kind of guys as well, which takes it up to 9. So there's just one more apart from that when he said 9 or 10.
Don't forget Valise, someone said.
Yeah, Valise is gone.
Then Solomon, does he count?
Solomon probably counts. Yeah, that's another one.
Yang. We're going to sell Kota Takai.
And it's like as well, like...
No one even talks about Sousa. Does he even exist anymore? I don't know.
It's well, like, because of what we're doing right now, you kind of have to rethink the whole situation of how you viewed these players. And because we said, like, you know, you probably say you don't want to sell Solanke because of who you can bring in to replace him, right?
Yeah.
But now we've got a Solanke, and he hasn't been performing for the last 2 years. He has in fits and spurts. He's been injured for the last 2 years. We've got the ability to be super ruthless.
Well, that's true. Absolutely right.
We don't need to, you know, hang on to him and wait for him to come good.
No.
Like, if a player's not doing it, ruthless. Go bring in a top talent.
Well, we have that ability now. We can do it. Why not?
Like a Man City, that's what Man City do. If a player's not doing, like, if Man City signed Dominic Solanke, right, and he had the 2 seasons, there is no chance they'd give him that 3rd season.
Yeah, he'll be gone. Even Reinders, they're 1 season, they're talking about maybe selling him. So that's just how it is with these top clubs. So I like Solanke. As I say, I do think he's got more to give. But if we've got this amount of money, and you could add that to the kitty and go get some players who are in top form and maybe younger or whatever, just better players. Do it. Why not? Why not sell them all? Just sell them all.
It's mad as well. It's just mad. The whole thing is just... I just can't get my head around it. Like,
well, that's a good one. Smith in the chat. Maybe a cheeky bid for Krupi with Solanke in the bid.
Why not? Would they take him back?
Oh, I'm sure they would. Wouldn't they?
He's a bit too similar to Evan Nilsson, though.
Yeah, he is. But they've got Europe next year. Evan Nilsson and Solanke. Not a bad two players there.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention Gallagher. Could we sell Gallagher after 6 months? Could we?
I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be
Wouldn't
against
be
it.
against it.
Well, I said that before this money anyway.
Yeah.
So. No, I wouldn't be against
Get rid
Gallagher.
of Gallagher. Get Nico Gonzalez in. Maybe we need another 10.
No, Nico, we need to be aiming higher than Nico Gonzalez.
He's not good enough anymore.
Nico Gonzalez, whatever you want to say, he's good talent, but I don't think he's proven at Man City that he can be that monstrous midfielder that we need. I feel like we've just been taken over by some sheikhs or whatever, and we've just got this massive sugar daddy now. We're just can spend on whoever we want, bring in basically
Gibbs White.
Basically, when Man City first got taken over, that's what I feel like Spurs are now.
But we haven't been taken over. It's just such an odd situation where we just decided this is the summer we're loosening the purse strings.
Yeah,
we just decided it. We're just we're gonna just spend. It's mad.
We're just gonna go all out, ball out, and this is what you're gonna have to put up with now. So, all right.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Maybe we should go back in for Gibbs White. I would sell Gallagher. Maybe I would put a bid in, 50 million plus Gallagher for Gibbs White. See what they say.
100%.
I would 100%
Add
do that.
Bergvall in as a sweetener.
Bergvall and 20 million for Scott. All these ridiculous suggestions are not ridiculous anymore.
Yeah.
Who
is above ridiculous?
You got Kavisha, Doué.
Yeah, these guys, 100%.
The top of the top.
Basically, anyone playing at a top club.
Mm-hmm. Anyone in a Big Six club, yeah, you would say. Anyone outside the top six
Anyone
or
else is fair
Bayern,
game.
pretty much at this point. When you've got this amount of money,
Yeah.
anyone is available. Is he? Oh no.
Why is everyone saying bomber?
Everyone, or
Is there a bomber?
was it just that one person? No, nothing.
So I'm just waiting for a bomber to drop any second. It can happen any time for any player. It's mental.
Someone just tweeted, oh no, it was an hour ago, saying Tonali announcement in 25 minutes, but that didn't happen.
Literally, I'm just ready to go for a bomber at any moment of the day. Any time. Oh,
Come on, we're going to
man.
get a Tonali bomber. Yeah, as we were saying, apart from Bayern, I think anyone in Italy is fair game. Madrid or Barca, maybe Atletico as well. And then the top six in England.
Why don't we go put 150 million down for Julian Alvarez?
I mean, we could. Would he come? Maybe.
Apparently, he has rejected Arsenal this summer, so maybe not.
He's rejected Arsenal.
That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is. But
It's because he's waiting for De Zerbi's call.
what about Harry Kane?
Harry Kane.
Best striker in the world. Could we go? Could we go in for Harry Kane? I do feel like with Harry Kane though, I think he might be a bit above our pay grade because we're not in Champions League.
Yeah, and I think because we're not in Europe, he wants Champions League. He wants the opportunity every year to win that competition.
So, if we're in the Champions League next season,
maybe, and if we're impressing and we're showing that we're actually going to be a solid team again, could Kane be tempted to come back? There is apparently talk in terms of his contract. There's been a bit of stalling at the moment.
Yeah, he's got 1 year.
Barca looking to steal in apparently.
He's got 1 year left. But I think Florian Plettenberg has said there's still confidence that he's going to sign a contract after the World Cup.
There's confidence, but he hasn't signed it yet.
He hasn't signed it yet.
We'll have to wait and see.
Look, Harry,
we get in his ear?
Harry, you want to break Alan Shearer's record. You want to join this Spurs project that is going places.
And just think about winning a trophy with Tottenham, how much that would mean, how much more that would mean. That, yeah, you won the Bundesliga, fantastic, I'm delighted for you, but imagine winning a trophy with Tottenham, how much more that would mean.
Imagine he comes back to Spurs to win us the Champions League.
Oh, man. Now we're dreaming. Now we are dreaming.
Harry Kane come home and win Spurs the Champions League. No better place to win it. That would be mental. But Harry Kane, if Harry Kane was to come back, that's it. Title challenges. I'm not saying anything. Like, I'm not having anything else. Like, nobody,
Not hearing it.
Yeah, nobody could sway me anyway. Like, everyone's going to be like outside of Spurs probably being, or even some Spurs fans being like, oh, you finished 17th. How can you be a title challenger? If we brought Harry Kane back this summer, we will be title contenders this season. I'm telling you, with the midfield that we've got, with the defence we've got, with the cover that we've got, and add in Harry Kane with a couple of wingers, there is no reason why we're not title contenders this season.
That's going to be clipped up out of context, just that little bit there. Oh.
It's true, though. Are you going to argue against that?
No, if we get Kane and we get bloody whoever the yield is, and we get Krupi, and we get why not? There is I do think, I'm not saying Spurs are going to win the league, but I do think if you just look around the Premier League right now, there is an opportunity for someone to mount a surprise title challenge.
Well, I'll tell you what, with the way England are going about Declan Rice, he's like, I think Declan Rice and Saka could have an extremely slow start to the season next year.
Well, you got Arsenal, who yes, they did win the league, and don't get me wrong, they're the best team in the league at the moment.
But they're still nothing special.
But exactly,
though.
they were one of the worst champions. We can all agree on that. Well, I know we all sound bitter from a Tottenham fan, but I think most other neutral fans also agreed.
I think the last two champions in this Premier League have been two of the worst champions that we've seen.
Then you've got Man City post Pep. That's just a bit of you don't know what's going to happen with him, Maresca. You've got Liverpool, Iraola. There's going a lot of change. We know, is Iraola going to win the league in his first year? Is he that good?
Well, Slot did.
I know Slot did. Fair enough, but is Iraola going to do that?
If you want to go by that metric, that anyone apart from Arsenal, if anyone's going to win it, it'll be their first year.
Fair. You've got Carrick. I mean, is he really going to win a title with Man United? I know they're a good team. They've got
Carrick's
Champions
probably
League.
going to get sacked this season.
Exactly. He's got Champions League football now into the mix. That's going to put more burden on the squad. You know, there is an opportunity. Chelsea under Alonso, we'll have to wait and see what kind of business they do, but they just seem to be a bit all over the place. Obviously, not to say that we're not, but just saying that you know, Chelsea also have got their problems. Just sold Cucurella as well. They've selling a few players. So my point being, I'm not saying Tottenham are bound for a title challenge. My only point would be is if one of those clubs gets their act together, there's a very good chance they're going to be in a title race next season. So there is space for next. I think if you're looking at it, there is definitely space for someone to mount a surprise title challenge.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. Look, I think our target next season, with the amount we're spending, the target is going to be top 4.
Yeah, of course. The target is definitely Champions League. I think that's obvious. We need Champions League football for more revenues and all that. We know how important it is, Champions League football. So that's going to be the target. But
well, top 5 now is now.
Yeah, top 5 pretty much. But could we spring a surprise?
I've been saying it for the last few weeks. I think we can. I think we can if we keep spending and bringing the right players in this forward line. I don't see a reason why not.
The only reason I really don't want to say yes is because I just don't want that. I don't want to go us going into the season expecting a title challenge. I think that's the wrong way to look at it.
We shouldn't expect it. I think we should expect a top 5
challenge. Yeah,
challenge. We can't go and expect. I mean, you can't go from 17th and expect a title challenge. Like, come on.
No.
But strange things happen in football.
We can dream. We can dream. There's been a
bomber.
Not a bomber, but a interesting update about Decky from former Sweden international Simon Turn expresses doubts over Decky's future in the game. He says, I had played Dejan centrally, incredible at covering and keeping the ball, dangerous going forward. It feels like a perfect midfield trio. If Kulusevski makes it back to football, I've started to doubt it after seeing pictures now how he moves. It may have been a coincidence, but within an hour of that article appearing online, Kulusevski posted a video on Instagram of him training individually and says, can't wait to play. This is from Ali Gold. So okay, actually it's not anyone massive. It's just some former international. But he claims looking at how Decky's moving, he's got doubts about his future.
Let's hope not. Let's hope he makes a full recovery because we need Decky. Decky would be so vital to us next season.
That could be if we could get Decky back into the team somehow. If he can somehow shake off that injury as hard as that would be, that could be a game changer as well. That could be a massive game changer.
Of course it could. All of a sudden, you've got Kulusevski on the right. You've got Kulusevski as well that can be in the number 10 when we're waiting for Javi Simmons to come back. You know, it opens up so many options to us. So the thing is, like, I think it's probably fanciful to think that he can get back to his best at any point in at least the first half of the season. You know? So it's going to be a slow burner with Decky if he is going to come back. That is the reality.
Yeah, can't expect too much from him. Let's just see if he's back for pre-season first. Take it one step at a time. The problem is that it's kind of been constantly, he's getting close, then it's further away again, and then he's getting close. So we just don't really know where we stand with it when it comes to Decky. How close was he? Because there was also points last season where he was on the grass, and he was getting, they were saying he's doing individual training and he's getting close, and then he was still feeling pain. It just kept getting delayed. So even though he's back on the grass now, we don't even know, will he be back still on it once pre-season starts and all that kind of stuff? Is he going to have another setback? We just don't know what the latest is. So I really feel for him. I really hope we get to see the Decky that we saw, before that injury, because he was absolute class, and we definitely miss him. And someone of his mentality as well would be so good within the squad. But we'll have to see.
Super chat here from Anyup saying, problem with Leao is that he is more focused on dropping albums than his football career. No doubt on his talent, but not sure on his commitment. Yeah, you need to get someone to get his head proper right, and I think De Zerbi could be that guy.
That's the thing. My point about De Zerbi is not to say, like, Leao shouldn't make music, whatever, he can do what he wants. My point is, like, De Zerbi is so obsessed with football. He is so just consumed by it, right? And that's what's got him to this position, just giving himself to the game.
Similar with like Conte, right? I think with Conte, or maybe, no, it was Jose Mourinho, like with those comments on Dele Alli as well. And, you have these managers that are just so consumed by football and they just don't understand all these like extra things players do.
Yeah, and so, if he sees Leao like making an album or doing music and then not like on the training ground, like improving himself and or doing all these things, would he start to like think? What will he start to think when he sees those kind of things? He loves just like players who are fully just football. I think
like Paulinho, that's why I love Paulinho so much, because like Paulinho was just 100% for the game, 100% mentality, all in, and he wants players to give all in.
And I'm not saying Leao doesn't do that, but it just, he's got other things going on, and that's fine. But whether that lack of just focus, does it lead to inconsistency? What does it lead to? Who knows? I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions, but
I think with that, like, if he was to come in, give his all for the team and provide for us, I don't think De Zerbi would mind that he's doing music on the side or something. It's only if like he sees the focus kind of drifting away, if he sees him not giving his all, if he sees him not running back and all that, then that comes all into question. It all depends on how he performs, like in training and on the pitch.
Exactly, and like before a game, is he looking into the opposition like Leao? Is he looking at who he's going to be up against and thinking how he can get an edge on him? Is he like thinking obsessively, or has he got other things on his mind? Like that's kind of can be the difference sometimes, and maybe that leads to like some games he's really, really hot, and then some games he's just not on it. Who knows?
So who knows, people? But all I do know is that Spurs are going big, Spurs are going hard, and Spurs are bloody massive. And it's for the first time we can safely say we're acting like a big club. We've got the big club infrastructure. We earn big club money. All that is left is for us to perform like a big club.
Yeah.
That's all that's left, because we're all getting excited. We haven't seen this team perform yet. We need to see them perform.
Yeah, as we've said, I think with football fans, a lot of the time, they're probably more excited about the potential of a team than actually how they actually perform. And so we have to see it on the pitch. But what gives me really lots of hope that we are going to see a good team, or an exciting team anyway, is De Zerbi. And I think we saw that at the back end of last season, even in little glimpses and fits and spurts of a team, by the way, that was just so devoid of any confidence, could barely string 2 passes together for months and months, was losing every game, hadn't won a game in, 15 games or something, hurtling his way towards relegation, had players on the pitch who just weren't even, aren't technically great and so low on confidence, and yet he got that team even a little bit, just playing bits of football, playing their way into games, winning games of football, enough to keep it in the league. And if he could do that in that short space of time, under those conditions, my point being is the conditions Derby came in last year couldn't have been much harder, couldn't have been more difficult. So when you got that starting point, like everything is up from there, you know what I mean? Nothing could be harder than what you've just been through. So when you've been through that, like he must back himself to do anything now.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like he will reap the benefits so much of being here for those last 7 games, won't he? We were saying that at the back end of last season. Like you've got managers now starting from square one right now. Jabi Alonso, Iraola, Maresca. They're going to walk into pre-season the first time meeting the players. He's had that 7 games to really assess who he wants, who he doesn't want, and I think that's as well helped us go early in the window.
Exactly. These things make a big difference. This is what I was saying. I remember I was saying a lot when we were deciding, should we sack Ange and Frank? Well, but one of the main things was, like, Ange knows the squad. He knows what we lack in, what we're not lacking. He knows what we need. Whereas Frank's coming in, and he needs to give everyone a chance. He needs to see who he wants to keep. And also, you don't really know. So there are some players maybe you're not sure about, and you're not going to truly know whether they're exactly what you want until maybe you have a season or see how they are over a whole season. I mean, it's all well and good having that pre-season and trying to assess them, right? But there are some players maybe you're not sure about, and you won't truly know until that, do they start to wilt second half of the season? Do they not perform well in the cold in December? All these different things, right, that you need to figure out over a season. But De Zerbi has had 7 games. He's got to know how the players are when their backs are against the wall. He's got to know who's up for the fight, who isn't. He's got to know who's good enough to play his kind of football and who's really struggling. And he's got to know that all in that 7-game period. And now it just gives us a head start. Whereas, as you say, Alonso and Maresca, they've just got to figure all those things out. They've got to figure out what are the problems, who maybe can rely on, who the other manager didn't. All these different things, they've got to all figure that out over pre-season. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of other problems come up after pre-season because, pre-season's only a part of it. Whereas De Zerbi has already got a head start on pre-season now. We're doing all this business, and he's going to have that squad that he wants going into pre-season. Whereas Alonso's going to have to spend pre-season figuring out problems. Whereas we're going to have those problems sorted out, hopefully, before.
And you're seeing that around the Premier League, right? You're seeing nobody has made moves in the transfer market apart from Spurs. Elliot Anderson, apart from Elliot Anderson, what high-profile names or what high-profile transfers has happened? I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Spurs are the only team, really, that have spent money and brought in players. And that is because De Zerbi had those last 7 games and he knew what he wanted in this team.
Exactly. And also, he was very big on not wasting any time. He was also, it's all that. On top of that, you've got an impatient, I think, De Zerbi, someone who's probably knocking on the door every day. What's going on with this player? Let's get this guy. He's obsessed. He's not letting. There's like a dog with a bone. He ain't letting it go. He ain't.
I would have loved to be a fly on a wall in De Zerbi, like him trying to get Fernandes to do. Like, I imagine he would have just like been non-stop calling him, like, "Come on, you're coming to play for me. This is it. This is it."
Like, he's probably calling him every hour. What's going on? We put in a bid an hour ago, mate. Okay, he calls him back 5 minutes. Anything? Hear anything from the bid? Well, just put it in, Roberto. Just give us a bit of time. Okay. Sorry. Then an hour later, anything? Come on. So I'm sure like De Zerbi's like that. That's the kind of impression I get, and that probably quickens things up and gets more things moving.
Yeah. So let's see. Still the forward line to sort out. Very exciting times, and we've hopefully got an announcement for Sandro Tonali today, which will come back on live when that does drop. But for now, that is it for it. That's it for today. We'll see. Well, for now. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.